On Thursday, Governor Ron DeSantis railed against President Biden over his student loan forgiveness announcement. Biden on Wednesday announced his wide-scale student loan forgiveness plan, including canceling up to $20,000 of debt per borrower and an extension of the payment pause. While Democratic lawmakers have widely celebrated the action, Republicans have been largely critical of it. DeSantis said Thursday that the announcement, quote, is very unfair to people that took out loans, worked hard, and paid off their loans. The Florida Republican added, quote, it's very unfair to people who took other pathways in life that didn't require them to take out a lot of loans.
When Biden did the stimulus, is trillions and trillions of dollars, you had people who worked as economists for people like Obama and Bill Clinton say, wait a minute, if you do this, you're going to fuel major inflation. And so, he was warned. There were a lot of people across the political spectrum saying that would be the result, and sure enough, that has been the result. So, and so it's had a big impact, I think, on just people's daily lives. And then the announcement yesterday that they are going to require the American taxpayer to basically be responsible for some of these student loans, first of all, is very unfair to people that took out loans, worked hard, and paid off their loans. It's very unfair to people who took other pathways in life that didn't require them to take out a lot of loans. So maybe people that went into business immediately, people that went into trades, they made those decisions to not have that debt. And now the debt's being put on them, and some have estimated it could represent about $2,000 per taxpayer when all is said and done with this. And so it's very unfair, to have a truck driver have to pay back a loan from somebody that got like a PhD in gender studies. That's not fair. That's not right. And so, and then you also just have the fact, like, if you're going to talk about debt, then you should look at, okay, who has benefited the most from all this exorbitant debt that's been taken out over the last generation? It's the universities. They have bloated administrative budgets. They have all this, although in Florida, since I've been governor, no tuition increases at our state universities. We haven't allowed that. Because all it does is they plow it in, and they will expand like the DEI office or something else like that, and it has no real impact on the quality of the education when they're raising the tuition. It just creates more administrative bloat, and that's been going on, and the colleges and universities have gotten a free ride at this. So, my view is if you're going to do some type of student loan, relief, it's not really relief because people are still paying for it, but the people that should pay for it is not the American taxpayers. It should be the universities should be responsible for that. If they're producing people that went deep into debt and their degree is not worth anything and they're not able to make enough money to pay it back, well, then that's on them. And they've had an incentive to get more and more loans taken out and then put it in their pocket. So we should look at these universities. But what Biden is doing, it's going to cause more inflation, which is what you just had one of Obama's economists come out and say, this is the worst time to do this. It's going to fuel inflation. This is not good policy. Obviously, the fairness and all that is very important, but it's not a good fiscal or monetary policy. And so you see that. But then you also have the fact that they're doing that with zero reform to the universities and the loans and everything that's happened that's clearly way, way out of whack. And then, I think this is still important. Some people may not care as much. He does not have the constitutional authority to do this. He is... He is relying on emergency powers because of COVID. So wait a minute. You got a PhD in gender studies 5 years ago, and that has something to do with COVID? It is an abuse of power. It's not constitutional. I don't think this is going to be sustained going forward. But it just shows you when you hear these politicians talking about these emergency powers, basically they want that to be able to override the traditional rule of law. So I think it's going to get rejected, but clearly it is in fact, unconstitutional to be doing that.